Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Danielson. Welcome to my channel. Well, I'm not doing a fragrance review today. I'm doing a fragrance topic, but I'm not talking about a specific fragrance. I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking what I think the difference is between the male fragrance reviewers and the female fragrance reviewers. I was actually thinking about that the other day. And I was sort of comparing them in my head, what I think the differences are. And the way I was comparing them is not specific fragrance reviewers or anything, but just in general as a whole. I was looking at it from like an aerial view. Um, Male fragrance reviewers and female fragrance reviewers, and what I think the differences are on how they do things and what they talk about. So the more I thought about that, the more that I wanted to do this little video and talk about it. Um, and I actually made a little list. Now remember, everything on this list that I'm getting ready to mention, they are exceptions. So just keep that in mind. And I'm not talking about specific fragrance reviewers or anything. I'm just looking at this as a whole in general. Before I go on, tell me what your fragrance of the day is, no matter what day you see this, even if it's like a year later from now. Tell me what your fragrance of the day is. My fragrance of the day is, I've never tried this before. I just put it on just now. It's a fragrance from Happyland Studio by E.J. Wells sent this to me. It's called Plum Loco. I just put this on. Um, it smells really good. I can't really tell anything about it yet. I'm going to have to wear this for a few days and let you know what I think about it after wearing it for a while. But my initial impression, my initial opinion, just from the first smell, I don't get plum, but it smells really, really good. So I'll have to wear this for a few days and do a full review on it. Tell me what your fragrance of the day is. Let me know. Put it down in the comments section. Um, Now I made a little list. The first thing that I'm going to mention really isn't on the list, but I thought I would just, for some reason, I just wanted to mention this. If there's a female fragrance reviewer and then there's a male fragrance reviewer, they're doing a fragrance review on exactly the same fragrance. They're saying exactly the same thing. Even their mannerisms in the review are exactly the same. For some reason, I would gravitate to want to watch the female fragrance reviewer more. And I think that's just because I'm a heterosexual male. It's just in my nature to gravitate towards wanting to watch a female and listening to a female voice more than a male. That's just me. It's a personal thing, but I just wanted to mention that. I think a lot of guys, maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Seems like maybe guys would gravitate more towards that, but maybe it's just me. I don't know. The first thing on my list is I noticed that the details are a little bit different between male reviewers and female reviewers. It seems like a lot of the male reviewers go into a little bit maybe too much detail about certain things, like the presentation, like the box. They'll show you the box and show you every angle of the box and talk about the color and how it opens and the batch code and all the words on the back and all the words on the side. And then they'll go on to go do the same thing with the bottle and then go into great detail about the atomizer. It seems like the female fragrance reviewers go into detail about the presentation, etc., but they don't go overboard as far as like showing you every single word on the box, etc. It seems like they're a little bit better about that than the male counterparts. Something that I've noticed. Talking about price points as far as fragrances, it seems like the male fragrance reviewers talk about fragrances that are all over the place as far as price points. Like you'll have male fragrance reviewers, they'll do a $10 Walmart fragrance, and then they'll talk about a $500 Creed fragrance and everything in between. I actually like that. That's something that I do on my own channel. I'll go from like a $500 fragrance to a $15 fragrance, and then a $45 fragrance, and then a $100 fragrance, and then back to a $5 fragrance. It seems like male reviewers are a little bit better with that. It seems like a lot more female fragrance reviewers are sort of, they talk about, you know, more of a mid to high end designer fragrances, and they're sort of like, most of them are sort of like stuck from like a $75 to $150, stuck in that little section right there, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I've noticed that male fragrance reviewers talk more, they have a wide variety of fragrances as far as price point to talk about more than females do. Something I've noticed. I've noticed that male fragrance reviewers talk a lot more about top 10 compliments and fragrances that are the most popular at that time. And it seems like the female fragrance reviewers are less interested in compliments and top 10s and the most popular fragrance at the time. Which I like that. I like that. I don't really care too much about top 10. I really could care less about compliments. Yeah, of course, I like to get compliments, but it gets old, you know, hearing about compliments, the compliment fragrances in the top 10 and the most popular at the time that everybody else is talking about. It sort of gets old. It seems like the female fragrance reviewers don't care about that as much. The female fragrance reviewers tend to want to talk about different stuff, more like fragrances as gifts, and like fragrances to get your boyfriend or girlfriend during Christmas or Valentine's Day. They seem to want to talk about that more than the male reviewers, which I like that. I like to hear different topics about fragrances. So I actually like to hear about recommendations as far as like what to get your boyfriend or girlfriend for Valentine's Day, etc. I like that. I really do. Now, believe it or not, I've noticed something that I might get a lot of people disagree with me about this, but I think it's true. I really do. I think the male reviewers tend to want to talk about drama stuff more than female reviewers, and gossip and things like that. It seems like the female reviewers don't care as much about gossip and talking about other fragrance reviewers, you know, talking crap about other fragrance reviewers. It seems like more male fragrance reviewers are more into that than the female fragrance reviewers. And I think there's a myth that I've never really believed, that that females are more into gossip and drama and stuff like that more than males. I don't believe that. I think a lot of males are more into drama and gossip more than females are. So that's just something that I've noticed. It seems like the female fragrance reviewers want to talk more about a fragrance than other people behind their back and stuff like that, which you know, I've actually stopped watching fragrance reviewers because of, you know, them talking about other people behind their back. And, you know, I'm just not into that. I'm really not. I want to, when I watch a fragrance reviewer, I want to hear about what their opinion is on a fragrance. I don't want to hear about their opinion about other people. But that's just me. That's my personal, you know, like and dislike. Editing. It seems like more male reviewers tend to edit a lot more than female fragrance reviewers. Which I don't really have a preference. I think you can over edit, and it sort of takes away from the content of a review. But it seems like the female fragrance reviewers tend to care less about editing. A lot of them are just put up a camera and start talking about fragrances. Something that I've noticed. Another thing that I've noticed is it just seems like female fragrance reviewers as a whole, it just seems like their channel is a little bit more inviting and warm and comforting to me more than male fragrance reviewers as a whole. I'm not saying male fragrance reviewers, their channels are all cold and uninviting. I'm not saying that. It's just like, it just seems like the female fragrance reviewing channels are just more inviting to me than the male fragrance reviewers. But that's just me. I've actually made a list of some of the female fragrance reviewers that I watch now and again. I don't watch a lot of fragrance reviews anymore. I sort of concentrate more on reading and listening to music and thinking more than spending most of my time on YouTube and Facebook. But I've made a list of some of the female fragrance reviewers that I like and watch occasionally. And I'll put the link to their fragrance YouTube channel in the description. So if you want to check them out, you can. Beauty Meow. I like to watch her occasionally, every once in a while. I think she's funny. She knows a lot about fragrances. I'll put the link to her YouTube channel in the description. Smurfygurly, I like a lot. Emmy Ever After. Excuse me. Emmy Ever After. I like her. Sniffing Fragrance. She's actually fairly new. She's been around for a little bit, for several months, but I really like her a lot. Bette's fragrance reviews. I've always liked her. Ever since her very first fragrance review, I've always liked her. But those are a few female fragrance reviewers that I like to watch occasionally. But I'll put a link to their channel in the description, so if you want to check them out, you can. And I would actually like to see more female reviewers. I really would. There is not enough female fragrance reviewers. There's this fragrance reviewing thing is really dominated by male fragrance reviewers, and I encourage more female fragrance reviewers to start doing this. I really do. We need more females out there talking about fragrances. Anyway, that is my little topic, and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about my picks. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right, if there's anything that you've noticed differently between female fragrance reviewers and male fragrance reviewers, put whatever you want to in the comments and let me know. Tell me if I'm wrong, tell me if I'm right. Anyway, that's it for my ooh, that smells pretty good. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace. See ya.